Now, I want to ask you a question about this. Is this really, this pork vindaloo, going to be as fiery and as robust and frightening as I think it's going to be?
It's slightly sweetish, it's slightly spicy, it's not very hot and fiery.
Okay.
You got to trust me on that.
Okay.
And
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to cook it. Now, the pork, and we've just got a dice, as you can see. It's about what? About an inch?
about an inch and a half, inch
yeah.
by inch.
So we've got a mixture of flavours here. Some very similar, in fact, to
Right.
obviously what we did with the pomfret, the fish. Now we've got chilies,
Right.
obviously, that we're going to be using, and these again have been
Yeah,
soaked, so they're just sitting in the water like this to soften them up.
Right.
And did you take out some of the seeds or leave them in?
Yes, no, the seeds are a little bit, actually there's a balance of that in this.
Still
half
the
seeds
same
are- yeah,
balance?
Yes.
Right, okay, the same balance as we had before, so you take out about half the seeds out of each pot.
Right.
I've got some cloves, little touch of turmeric as
Right.
always, about 18-20 peppercorns are going to go in, some cumin,
seeds.
about a teaspoon,
About a teaspoon.
about a teaspoon of that, and garlic, a whole
Pot of
head
garlic.
basically, and we loosen that with the Goan vinegar,
Vinegar.
which almost tastes like a sort of a cider vinegar flavour. So obviously you can't get this at home, but use cider vinegar and you'll get a good result. And that is the paste in its finished state, and quite coarse this time. So you're going to get a bit more texture coming from this
True.
with the pork itself, which will be very, very good. Right, now for the cooking. Now we've got some pork here, and we're actually going to
Yes.
mix it with
Mix
some
the
of this masala, aren't we? Now, how much for this sort of quantity?
3 teaspoons, 3 tablespoons rather.
Three
Three
like
of-
this?
yeah, three
for that
lots.
amount of meat?
Yeah, right. Basically because we'll be adding some potatoes and there'll be some gravy which will be forming out of it.
Okay, Scott, you've got some onions there for me. Just roughly chopped, yeah?
Yeah.
About that amount
That's
of oil?
perfect, perfect.
Yeah? Okay, so let's go in with the onions then, Chef. Will they go in next?
Yep. That'll be good enough.
Just that?
Yep.
Okay. So now we're going to just start to fry those down. Now, do you allow those to take on a little bit of colour?
No, what we do is we just sweat it out. It
Okay.
doesn't get really brown,
So just
but we can just
softened.
soften it out.
And before we add the pork?
The pork.
There's that old saying, or that belief, I suppose, that it shows how much of a man you are if you eat vindaloo.
Yeah.
I've got a long way to go. I don't know. I hope you can prove everybody
I'm
that,
sure.
I'm tough
I'm
enough
sure.
to taste it today, Chef. Okay, I think the onions are ready.
Yeah.
Shall we go in with the
Yes.
pork? So basically, straight in with the pork and seal that, and that will start to cook the spices as well. So just the rest of that in there, which is lovely. Right, now, let's give that a good stir. Oh, goodness me.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
The aroma is perfect.
The aroma is quite powerful, isn't it? Right, now, time to add the water.
Yes, perfect.
So, about that.
Little more.
Little
Just
touch
enough
more.
for it to get cooked. Just cover the meat off.
And that's it.
That's it.
Onions, a paste, the pork,
Pork.
water. Not exactly difficult. We've fried off the meat. We've cooked out some of that flavour of all of those great spices. Going to continue cooking them now with the pork. So that's going to be a nice, slow cooking, bubbling away. And you've said that this is quite a good idea to make 24 hours in advance.
Yeah.
For it to really absorb the flavour.
The next day, you just heat it up and you serve it up on the dining table.
Right, I'm going to taste this now. Although it's still in its raw stage, I'm getting that first bubble. This is Vindaloo I'm tasting here.
Perfect.
I can
You ready
feel
for
it.
it? Yep.
I can feel it, but then it is raw,
Right.
but it's not as powerful as I thought.
No. Yeah, it will not be. Basically, as I know, it gradually cooks over a period of time.
Yeah.
The spice level will get adjusted to the other ingredients which you have used.
Well, you know what this means, don't you? I'm a man.
You are.
Right, so we've got to that stage now where this is braised. Everybody can see that, how that's changed in the pan, and this is cooked pork. There's no question about that. Oh, that feels so tender. Very soft, very, very tender. That's going to be beautiful. So potatoes. Now, Scott, you've got some there, haven't you? This is another interesting point. Is that part of the name? Because it's called Vindaloo.
No.
Does aloo mean
No.
potato?
Vindaloo is a Portuguese word. It's vinegar with garlic.
Vindaloo is vinegar,
with garlic and meat. That's how it goes.
These are cooked potatoes, but you can also add them raw as well.
You can
can't you?
also add them raw, but at an earlier stage. But at this point
Right.
in time, we can just put about 15 to 20 pieces of those. That should be good enough. You may choose not to add the potatoes. In this recipe, we are choosing it to be added is for one specific reason. It will take away the bite from the whole gravy and keep it as subtle and flavorful as possible.
What you're actually saying there is Putting the potato in, it draws away some of that heat from all of those spices that you've got added.
Right.
So, which is going to be, it's going to be fabulous. It's a great idea. You're going to better balance like that, aren't you?
True.
Oh, I like
That'll
the
take care.
potatoes.
Yeah. Actually put the whole thing in. Yes.
I have to say, they are my favourite
Perfect.
bit when I eat a curry, because, and I think it's because exactly what you said, their whole purpose, they draw all of those lovely
Spices
flavours, that
within
lovely,
them.
that richness, that they have.
Plus they'll give a body to the gravy.
Absolutely, they give that, they thicken it, don't they,
Right,
for
true.
you with the starch that's there. Right, I think we're ready to serve,
We
yeah?
can.
So let's take this now. This looks sensational. I hope everybody can see it in that pot, and just look at that beautiful, beautiful Vindaloo. And even the nose on it is just not too hot at all. It does look super rich, and it really is going to be really quite something.
Sure.
Right, so there's something else that you serve with the Vindaloo.
You can actually have it with rice, or it can serve ideally with sanas. Now sanas are made, they are dumplings actually, made out of rice and fermented toddy.
Now, Scott, you've made some of those, haven't you?
Yeah, they're right here.
So you've got some of those. Come round.
It's,
Let's have a look at these, because I want you to have a taste of this anyway, because I'm
like-
sure you're going to want to taste some of this.
It's like a steamed rice dumpling made with
Well, that would
toddy.
be interesting. Let me have a look at that.
And they-
So, look at that soft texture that it's got. I mean, how would you describe those?
It's kind of like bread. I mean, you smell it, it's very yeasty.
very, very yeasty. Right, let's turn this round here. Look at that. I love this, the look of this. So you'd have these sunnas, you said they're called, with some sunnas. Let's put these down here. Let's create a bit of space so we can really get a good look at these, because I think this looks sensational. And then, of course, it's the best bit of all. It's the time for tasting.
Perfect.
So do you mind if I tuck into one of
Yeah,
these?
you must.
First thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to use the spoon yet. I'm going to do the dunking with this sunnas, which smells very good. And that, look at
Looks
that.
good.
It's really absorbing all of that flavour. Do you know what I like that?
It's not hot.
Not hot at all. Goodness me. You have convinced me. You have convinced me that I can be registered as a Vindaloo eater.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Perfect.
Never before in my life have I ever put a large spoonful of Vindaloo in my mouth like that
I'm
before.
sure you'll keep on doing this again.
And I've got to
like for
tell
the next
you,
half an hour.
guys, that's yours. This is gorgeous. Tuck in, come on. Some of the bread.
Yeah.
I've got to actually pay you such a compliment here, Chef.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
This is,
The Vindaloo.
it's full in flavour.
True.
It's rich, it's flavoursome, it's not overpowering, it's telling me a totally different story about this dish.
The vinegar works really well with it, doesn't it? Cuts that kind of richness and the fat and the pork and
Really does help it. In fact, that's a very good point actually,
Yeah.
Scott, because it does
Just
cut
does
that
cut.
fattiness from the pork. I tell you, I'm absolutely shocked. If I could guarantee that a Vindaloo tasted like this every single time, I'd be hooked. I would never order anything else. Sensational.